Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Join us for our final episode of 2025, our end of year review. I'm Joanne and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Should we say that really cliche thing about how, like,
I can't believe it's the end of the year.
So quickly.
Where did the year go? Yeah, it's a bit like that. I was like, honestly, my brain was just like, oh, end of year. Like, as I was writing that, I was like, end of year. Ugh. And then I was like, yeah, but you can't say that because that's like, that just, again, it's very cliche to be like, end of year. Where did the time go? Rabble, rabble.
Here we are, though.
Here we are.
2025.
I kind of can't believe it.
We're into our 5th year now.
It doesn't feel like that.
I know. I look back and I'm like, oh, that's a long time.
Some of the stuff has gotten smoother, I think. Like, easier to, like, being like, oh, sugar, I have 5 minutes for the start of an episode. Better write something. Better write an intro, because I haven't done that yet. I've set the whole thing up, but I haven't written the intro yet. And I'm like, she's going to be on in 2 minutes. Coming up with something in that 2 minute gap that's not entirely awful has gotten a lot easier.
Okay. So, I like to keep you challenged.
Yeah, and it's also become harder to make you react like viscerally to some of the intro. Like, there's something that I think like, oh, that would be fun. Like, I write something and I'm like, you can actually make up your own intro, like the one we did with Tom. And I was like, I'm going to write that because I can't think of anything else. So that's a placeholder, say whatever you want, sort of thing. I'm ill, I don't care. And then you read it and you were like, no, I actually like that. I'm going to go with that. And I was like, great.
Yeah.
You've not Ron Burgundy as much on the intros as well.
No, I've been doing really well.
Really great. I'm so
really
proud.
Well.
This is where we've gotten to in 5 years.
It's like we're professionals or something.
Sometimes it feels like that, and other times I'm like, oh no. No way, brother.
No. I often say to people, I was like, no one's listening to us for our editing skills or anything like that.
But people are listening to us because what is great is when we talked about it before, but when the feed went doolally and it was not how it was having a funny 5, we had to sort it out. People actually messaged us to be like, the feed,
you've gone.
Where has it gone? Have you stopped? Like, what's going on? It's like, no,
it just got broken. No. But we fixed it. It should be fine now.
It should be fine now. And I really genuinely appreciate the fact that people noticed when we were not in their ears on a Monday.
We appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening.
Makes us feel wanted.
Yeah, it does make us feel wanted. So we'll just carry on doing it, I guess.
I guess so.
I mean, I feel like we did quite a lot this year. I had a little bit of a look back at all the things that happened this year, and I was like, oh yeah, that happened this year.
Do you know when you have to write, like at work, and you have to write your reflection at the end of the year for like your end of year reviews and stuff like that? I don't know if you have to do it at your work. We have to write like here's what I think I did well, here's what I think I could improve on, here's like overall capture. And you've got to think back about the year as a whole. And what I've found is I'm always shockingly awful at making notes in an easily accessible place for me to look back on some of that stuff. So I try to do it each quarter, like for each quarter by quarter, every time we do these reviews for the podcast.
Yeah.
But inevitably I'll be like, here, you know, an hour or so before we could go, oh yeah, and then there was that thing. And I completely forgot about this thing. And it's just, like, do you have the same thing as I do? Where you're just like, oh, I don't even know if I can remember everything I've done.
I literally went back through I went back through my photo albums, and I went back to January and then went all the way through everything to try and remember what we did, because
I've got like thousands of photos. Oh, that'd be painful.
Only for this year though.
I know, I have thousands of photos for this year. It's painful.
You do take a lot.
I take a lot of photos, especially when I'm going on like holiday and stuff. I'm like, take all the photos, because Rick relies on me to take the photos because he doesn't take the photos. So he's like, I rely on your photo skills. And there's like food photos and beer photos and dog photos and landmark photos. I can't. That's
I just
stressful.
Scroll through them, like try to remember what happened this year. So I've made myself some notes about that. I've got some little notes about the last quarter of the podcast. I can also go back and see what our top ones of the year are. Although we've also got our Spotify Wrapped for the podcast, which we shared on it on the podcast Facebook, but for the podcast Instagram. But if you didn't see that, we can go over that as well.
We can do our Spotify Wrapped over here. We can do our Untapped end of years.
Once I found it.
It was marketed to me. I don't know how you couldn't.
So
how you didn't even get it.
A couple of notifications come up saying it was there, but then when I went into Untappd, it wasn't anywhere to be found. So I had to go and search for it. So I finally found it today. Mine was difficult to find.
Hang on, I've just realised I'm going to put on a festive treat. I know it's not Christmas anymore, but we're still in December. And I didn't have this at the time that we did our Christmas episode. So, hang on a minute. Hang on. I'm going to double jumper. This is going to be an experience.
She's just putting her other jumper on.
This is double layers. Hang on a sec. Got to take my headphones off then.
There we go. She's got herself a new Christmas jumper.
I am going to look like I am hulking out in a minute with these double layers. Yeah. And I'm going to be roasted by the end of this. My Siren Christmas jumper.
She's now got a Siren Christmas jumper.
And it's blue. It says Siren across it. And it's got a hop on it. And I felt like I needed to get it because I'm fairly certain that at some point when we were recording an episode, I said something along the lines of like, if somebody made a Christmas jumper or put hops on a Christmas jumper, like I'd 100% buy it. People need to be getting on that and doing that. So like when I saw this one, when I went to go do my final brewery visit of 2024, I was like, well, I can't not get it, can I? John was there. John was awesome because I was like, there's only like large and XL. And I was like, I need a medium maybe. Like I was like medium because then I can wear layers under it, it'll be longer. So like I said, even if you got a small or medium, whatever you got, and he went and he found me a medium. Aww. So I was like, yay, I'll take it. So yeah, very pleased with it. So I will wear this festive little piece.
I haven't got anything festive on. I've got my books and beer t-shirt on instead.
I mean, that feels fair.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good representation of me, right? Books and beer.
It is. Before we get into the good stuff, though.
Yes.
Should we talk about what we're drinking?
Yeah,
the books
I think we should.
And the beer.
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, can do.
Come on
then. I am drinking Good Chemistry's Bob's Best Bitter.
Oh,
and
Best.
I'm drinking it out of my Good Chem glass, which has the little ducky on it, and it's so cute. Basically, I got the same glass for my friend because she really wanted one, so I bought her one. And then I was like, well, now I'm going to get FOMO, so I need to buy one for myself. And it's also blue, so I just feel like I'm matching.
You're all matching.
Entirely. It's great. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer from the stash. It's called Rise Rise.
Ooh.
And it is a cranberry and red currant Berliner brown beer.
Oh, that's nice.
So this is a historical style, which is why I am drinking it now, because it's going to add to my styles list.
That may or may not be why I've picked what I've picked.
Yeah. And it's from Steel City, Lost Industry, and Frigeist Beer Culture. And basically, it's a style that may be lost to time, and nobody really brews it anymore. So they got together and they brewed it. There was 2 different versions of it, and I drank the other version a while back, but I still had this one in the fridge. So it is quite delicious.
I really kind of wish more breweries would go and do like regular historical beer. Like, I'm not saying, don't do your normal stuff, because obviously historical stuff's not gonna pay the bills. But I do think it would be interesting to like do these, like have a series where once every even 3 months or something, you did like a historical style beer, even if you did like a historical style on its own and then one with like a modern twist to it, or just one with a modern twist to it. I feel like those are the ones that I gravitate towards when I go in places. Like, oh, that's really cool and interesting. I like the story and I like the history behind it, and I feel like it encourages me to want to learn more about some of it. And so like, but it's just so rare. Like I feel like that would be something that more people would, I would assume more people would go, oh, that sounds cool, interesting idea, let me do that. But actually I don't know if that's the case. I think people probably see it as too risky.
Yeah, I would think so. The historical section of my styles list is relatively bare because it's been quite difficult to find those ones. I think I've done pretty well with my styles list though.
I've got a few historical ones, so I can't really complain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 out of
5?
the 14.
Which 5 did you do?
So the Gruit, I've got the God, I don't even know how to say it.
Coit, yeah, we had that one together.
Yep. I've got historical other.
Oh, what did you have? What was your historical other?
It was it was called Hoppenbeer from Jopen.
Oh.
And then I've done a Steinbier and Zoigl.
A Zoigl. Yeah.
Not sure if that G was supposed to be pronounced or not, so that's why I sort of went like middle. I sort of pronounced it, sort of didn't. So yeah, those are all the historical ones that I did.
Oh, so you've got more than me. So I've only done. Ooh. I've done a Gruit, a Coit, a Zoigl, and then I've just done a Berliner Brown Beer. That's it.
Sounds really nice, though.
It's really nice. Yeah.
I will also say that on this list, I guess we can probably talk about our Untappd beer styles on now, but just overall our list. But I don't think it's cheating, but I know that we had a hard seltzer, but obviously I didn't check that in on Untappd because I was like, it's a hard seltzer. Like, and half the time you can't find it. So I know we did the pumpkin spice one, and I'm fairly certain that was this year that we did the pumpkin spice one.
I don't think it was.
Well, I've definitely had numerous hard seltzers because the amount of times that we've gone places, I go, I'm just going to try that, even though I know I'm not going to like it. And then I'll take a sip of it and go, immediately, no, do not like. But because it's a hard seltzer, I never track it. Yeah. So I put that as a tried, and I just put Jan and then left it blank because I was like, I don't know, but I know that I definitely did.
Okay.
And I didn't want that to count against me because some of these you can't find them on Untappd, and then you're just like, okay, cool, so I guess that didn't happen. And then you look at the list and you're like, wait a second, it is there.
But it depends on what it's logged as on Untappd. That's the problem, you see.
I know for a fact that I've had a hard seltzer.
And also, I was looking this week, so I was going through to see what was left on my list for me to see if I could find it. And so I put this list together at the beginning of the year from what I could find on Untappd. And I've got it down on the list as there is a blonde ale, blonde/golden ale American, blonde/golden ale English, blonde/golden ale other, and then there's just a blonde ale on its own. Now, I went looking to see what I had previously, because it said that I'd had 32 blonde ales previously. So I was like, oh, I wonder what ones I've had previously, so I get an idea of what I'm looking for. And that category doesn't exist anymore.
I feel like we need to revamp it we need to like amend some of this next year. Because like there were some there that were like black and tan. I was like, that's a cocktail. What is that?
But it's a style on Untappd. Right, and also
I'm so confused.
I found, when I went looking for it, I found 270 styles on Untappd. When you do your stats, it's telling you that it's out of 465. I don't know where these 465 styles are.
That is wild. So what is correct, Untappd? They've also added, since we started, they added more types of serving methods. Like they've added slushy from Tank.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Tank. I saw that Tank had been added.
They've done
recently.
Tank. They've done side pull. They've done slushy machine. They've added a whole bunch more stuff as well, which is like cool. But if you're trying to kind of look at, I'm not going to go back through the last, even 6 months, let alone more than 6 months, to amend some of the stuff that I'm like, well, I know that was out of Tank. Like I actually know that was out of Tank, but I'm not going to go back and be like, oh, hang on a minute, like that. It just feels like I can't be bothered to sift through everything. But hopefully 2025 might be either a little bit easier, or I might choose to. We're going to cover our goals for 2025, I think, in the start of the new year, because it will give us a little bit more time to think over this last bit of December. But I think I might approach 2025 a little bit different in terms of like the styles and how I track that kind of stuff, because as we've discussed in a recent episode, I'm kind of fed up with Untappd. I'm not saying that I won't use Untappd, but again, I kind of don't think I use it properly anyways as it is.
I want to come up with a different way of tracking things. So maybe that's something that we can come up with together for this.
But I like this. I like what you've done with the styles. It's just really frustrating when you have ones that are like black and tan and you're like, what the fuck style
right,
is
exactly.
black and tan? I know it as a cocktail. What kind of beer style is that? Right. And I wouldn't even, when you Google it, all that comes up is cocktails. And you're like,
I like malt beverage.
Yeah.
Some of them are very, very Americanized that you would never find over here. So,
and also, I don't want a malt beverage.
And also, we don't want a malt beverage anyway.
I really don't want a malt beverage. I did think about getting like a Colt 45 or something like that, just to see if it would tick off malt beverage, just because I was like, but I don't want to drink that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've not returned to that part of the cycle. Yeah. I've gone back to lager.
And now that we're talking about it, I'm like, well, maybe I don't use the ones off of Untappd. Maybe I use BJCP. But also, BJCP doesn't get updated that soon. So then do we end up adding in the Brewers Association ones as well?
I think I'd rather stick with really Untappd. I think I'd rather stick with Untappd, but then kind of maybe do an extra pick through it to be like, what actually are these? Maybe do like a sanity check through it to be like, what is this? Is this actually a style?
And because also there is a big chunk of mead and a big chunk of cider ones on there as well.
I kind of think it's fun to keep them on there, but it's really difficult because if you're trying beer styles, it's like, I don't often go and reach for ciders, but if you're trying to be a completionist, maybe we move the cider and the mead to like a separate category. Yeah. We go like, here's all the, lagers, ales and all that jazz. And then here's like the mead and cider. Because it makes sense to kind of put those two together. But that's something that I guess we can brainstorm when we have our new goal reset situation. But yeah, I wasn't displeased with how much I managed to do, to be fair. What was your final number?
Well, I mean, we're not fully at the end of December yet.
True. So, I still have at least tomorrow worth of drinking to do. So I'm going out tomorrow. Got some more.
I think so. I'm currently on, and that doesn't include the one that I'm drinking right now. I'm currently on 191, and I reckon I can get up to 195. I wondered if I could get to 200. I'm not going to get to 200. I reckon I could get to 195.
I am on 164 at the moment, but I'm not displeased because I think my 164 is me just kind of going, I'm going to pick what I want to drink and not like this. And like, to be fair, it's when we have these episodes that I go, I kind of want to clear out the stash. Let me see what I've got that will tick off a box, because it's kind of choose your own for these episodes anyways. So I think like when we do that type of stuff, I'm a bit more like conscious of, okay, I'll make a conscious decision to try to get something that's on a list. But like, I think I don't even look at this when I'm out and about and choosing beers when I'm going out and drinking or ordering things online or like casually having a beer on, I was reading a book yesterday and having a beer, and I didn't look at all like, oh, what haven't I ticked off this list yet? I just kind of went, what pairs well with this thing? And then if it's something I've not had. So I'm pleased that I managed to do as many different styles as I've done, especially the historical ones, especially if you're saying I did more historical ones than you did. I'm like, that's because normally I go in some place and if I happen to see something, I go, that's interesting, gonna have that.
Yeah. But they're difficult to find because you don't like that. I do that too, but like I haven't seen them. They haven't been anywhere.
I think it's definitely because I've been to It Ain't Much if It Ain't Dutch a few times this year. So I think they tend to have like, that's where I think I've ended up having the majority of like the historical styles was in there across numerous trips. But yeah, I some of them are just like it says one thing on the can, so you're like, oh, okay, that's great, I'll have that. And like you said, you then go to check it in, and it's like,
And it's
nope.
not that. Yeah.
You're like, cool, great. Which month was your biggest success month?
Oh, January. I got 49 in January, but I then got 23 in April, which I'm pretty impressed with.
I'm shocked that your January was the biggest.
Well, because you're knocking them off first, aren't you?
I guess
Like,
that's true.
That's the low hanging
Yeah.
fruit because you haven't got anything
That's
ticked off. So
that's true. I mean, it's a higher month for me, but my highest was June. I did 33 in June, and I did 32 in May. So
see, I only did 7 in May because I wasn't very well in May. But then, I did 49 in January, 17 in February, 19 in March, 23 in April, 7 in May, 17 in June, 13 in July, 4 in August, 18 in September, 9 in October, 6 in November, and I'm currently on 9 in December, but that's going to go up.
So mine was basically January 25, February 3, March 19, April 11, May 32, June 33, July 7, August 11, September 9, October 6, November 2, December 5. And I think it's just because like a lot of the time, so many of the things that I'm having in these months, it's just like, yeah, already ticked off. Or I think like, oh, I haven't ticked that one off. And I'm like, yeah, I did that. Because I think I do, like what I tend to do is a majority of them will get done at a beer festival.
Yeah.
Or like I'm at a beer festival, I'm naturally trying more beers, so I'm trying more different varieties and stuff, so it stays interesting. So like when I tick certain things off, they tend to be ticked off like around the same month. So like if I've gone and done like a beer crawl in London, or you know, wherever else, if I've gone on holiday, like most likely when I've gone on holiday to the US or whatever, which I do every other year at least, like that's very much like, cool, I've ticked off a whole bunch of stuff in that 1 month. And then it makes it really hard for those in between months, because then you're just like, cool, and another IPA and another pale ale and another milk stout and another imperial stout, and you're like, cool.
Yeah. I tried all of the stout styles.
I don't know if I had anything where I've tried all of them.
Yeah, I've tried all of the stout styles. And
I nearly tried all the Belgians.
I think I have tried all the Belgians. Hang on. And
it's just the ankle that I didn't try.
Sour. I tried everything but sour traditional and sour tomato vegetable goes.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Farmhouse. I thought the farmhouse would be easier for me.
Oh, it's
that's
not,
like a lot of what I've done.
They all end up just being one thing.
They're all farmhouse ale saison, and you're like, oh, okay. Yes. It sounded very different.
I have done all of the Belgian styles.
I'm just missing the one which really winds me up as a completionist.
Which one are you missing?
The Ankel. It's the Enkel Patters beer.
Oh, the Patters beer, yeah.
Yeah, the Patters beer. That's the only one that I...
the other day.
That's the only one that I didn't do. And actually, to be fair, I could have had something and I just didn't check it in. Because I'm fairly certain that there's like a whole bunch of things that just gets lost to time. And like when I go away on holiday, if I'm not checking them in right on the spot and I wait until I get back, I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered to go through all the photos. And I'm like, yeah, guess I just won't. And then I completely lose them. Like today I did a panic check-in as I was cleaning out cans of like...
Yes, I saw you tag me in a few things.
There was like a bunch that I was like, oh, I never checked this in and I don't want my Untappd year in review to be wrong. So I was like, quickly check them in. I don't think there's a single one where I've done everything. I mean, I've done a lot of the lagers. I've done a lot of the IPAs.
Yeah, I've done a lot of the lagers. I've done a lot of the IPAs. I need a brown IPA, people. Someone find me a brown IPA. I've never tried one. I need to try a brown IPA.
I was thinking that would be really interesting as well. Done a lot of pales.
I didn't find a Brew IPA this year.
I didn't either.
I've never
fuming.
I've never had a quadruple IPA.
Yeah, I haven't either, but that's just because I think like when you start getting into triple, it's
that's
like
a lot, right?
I just find that like the flavour, you're just like, cool. So it's just alcohol burn.
Yeah.
Like for my taste buds, I feel like it loses It's not even like hoppy depth of flavor. It's hop burn, and it just doesn't. It's alcohol burn, really.
Yeah.
And it just tastes like spirits, and I'm like, ugh. And I mean, I've had some really nice like triples, but it's very. I find personally, for my taste buds, it's very rare that you find one that's like nice and balanced and has like full flavors and isn't just so boozy that you lose any depth of flavor beyond just like alcohol burn.
Yeah.
So quad, I'm like, oh, I don't know, oofa doofa. I'm not sure I want to. And it would be so expensive for something that I wouldn't. So expensive comparatively because of how high the alcohol is on it. For something that I know that I probably won't enjoy and drink all of. I'd have to find it on tap somewhere, and I feel like I've never seen that on tap.
Or we'd need to find one and like share it with
people. It. Yeah, 100%. And just to tick off a list, it's like meh.
I mean, completionist. So I've just filtered my list to the styles that previous to this year I'd never had before, to see what I managed to tick off this year. A sweet cider, a chicha de jora, which you found me, thank you very much. A coit azoigle, a Czech pale, a lambic faro, a mead melomel, a mead other, and a mead session short. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 I tried this year that I've never tried before. That's pretty good going.
We've done 17 this year that I haven't done last year.
I thought I had tried a Czech amber because I found one when we were in the US at Free, and it was called a Czech amber. But then on Untappd it wasn't logged as one.
That's infuriating.
And I'm like, but it is one. Like, you've literally named it Czech amber because it's a Czech amber, but then you haven't put it under the right category on Untappd.
That's it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like with the quad IPA, if somebody turned around and said to me, "You've got one left to tick off," and it's a quad, like I wouldn't be like, what's stopping you from hitting 200 is a quad IPA. I'd be like, I'm ordering that quad IPA, I guess.
Yeah.
I would hunt it to the ends of the earth. Absolutely not. Like, I would be having it. But, like, just, it's a drop in the bucket at this point, so no. I've done a few, but, like, I think I've definitely had some of them before. I just never checked it. So, like, a traditional alt beer, I'm fairly certain that I have had that before, but I just think it was probably something I never checked in.
They are quite difficult to get hold of.
This year I've had so many. Every time I'm thinking like, oh yeah, like I've not done this one before, and I'm like, it's the Alaskan Brewing Company Amber.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then the next time it comes up, I'm like, oh, this is one that'll be really good to tick off. Already did it again for like the third or fourth time. I'm like, great. So I did that one. I did Australian sparkling ale, a rosé cider, the chicha de jora again. Yeah, I've got a backup can of that I was like, oh, use that for a cocktail episode because it's really interesting, really cool. Tasted beautiful, but just never got around to finish drinking it. And I just found it earlier today, like in a stash that was like maybe podcast ? I've done an Italian grape ale. The Gruit I hadn't checked in before. The Coit I hadn't checked in before. Steinbeer, Zoigo, and a Koji Ginjo beer. There was the Strong Lager, which I know I've definitely had this before, but it's not something that I checked in before because I've had this particular beer before this year as well. And then, like, so the Lambic Framboise, the Lambic Creek, and the Lambic Other. Again,
you've definitely had those before.
I've had those before this year. Clearly, I've just not checked them in. And then the Melomel mead and the other mead, we had those two together.
Yeah.
I don't have that third one that you had.
The session?
So, yeah, the session.
You've got one.
I feel like it's probably, again, another one that I haven't checked in.
The Bellini that I think I bought for you is definitely a session.
And I've definitely had
made.
it. but I don't know if it came
Oh, and I
up
might
that
have
way.
one for you in the bag over here that's a very big bag of things I need to bring you.
Now I'm double checking because I'm like, I know I've had the Bellini. Such a great name, isn't it?
Mm.
I love it. It tasted wonderful as well.
I've still got mine. I need to drink it.
I drank mine. I did ask you first, I should say.
You did, yeah. We were going to say that, and then we changed our minds.
Are we going to do this, yes or no?
No.
Oh, it is. Okay, then I did have that. So, yeah. Let me just mark that to a big old yes. Oh, it's disappeared. Oh, maybe it's because I've had it before, because it's not on this. I filtered it. Yeah. It's not on this. Yeah. And then the Porter Imperial Double Baltic. So, yeah, I had a good amount of ones that I hadn't tried before. So, can't complain. I'm excited to see how much I can do next year. Like, maybe I'll try to like set a goal for myself and maybe think a little bit more about it than I did in previous years. So,
I mean, my goal was 170, and I've done 100. I reckon I'm going to do 195. So,
I didn't set any goal for myself on it. I think I just went, I want to see how many I can get without trying. And now I'm like, maybe next year I'll try a bit.
Structure it.
Maybe I'll try a little bit. So maybe like I'll dedicate a day a month to being like, let's tick some things off. Something to keep in mind for our goal setting, I guess.
Yeah. All right, what do you want to talk about next?
Oh, what should we talk about? Oh, do you want to do our... I've still got a little bit more beer to drink, so do you want to talk us through our Spotify Unwrapped for anyone that hasn't? And then we can move into the Untappd year in review.
Yes, so as well as, your usual Spotify Wrapped for the music you listen to, we get one because we're a podcast. So I thought that was exciting.
I didn't expect that, and when you posted it,
I know.
I was like, "Oh, we have an Unwrapped!
Look at this! This is
like that's fun."
So it is on our Instagram if you'd like to go and have a look at it as well. But Untappd, no. But Spotify has told us, so this is only the listens from Spotify. This isn't from other areas. But our top episode on Spotify was our Brave Noise episode with Ham Brew Co, which I thought was good.
Agree. I'm glad that that's the one.
Yeah, I'm glad that that's the one that was our top episode of the year. Our listener age brackets. So 2% of our listeners are between 18 to 24. We don't go to the young'uns.
I say slaps enough. Why don't we? That should get us some more young people.
You do.
I got ID'd twice this past week. Yeah. I went out one day and I got ID'd twice, and then when I was in Bath I got ID'd. I was just like, oh, hang on.
I am a young one.
Yeah, I've gotten ID'd a few times, and like the one that happened the other day on the 23rd, I think it was the 23rd, because I was doing some like panic last minute. Oh shit, I should buy something else for Christmas Eve. And I went to M&S, and the lady was like, I got some booze because I was like, I'm going to make cocktails that I never made. I got spirits for the cocktails that I didn't make.
Yeah. And
then she was like, oh, can I see some ID? And I was like, of course you can, girl. Yes. And then she was like, she looked at it and she went, oh, is it Sainsbury's? That's what it was. And she went, oh, you don't look like you're old enough. You don't look over 25. And I went, oh, thank you very much. Have a lovely holiday.
Just made my Christmas.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for that. And then I like strutted out, and I called Rick immediately after I got out the shop, and I was like, oh, have you know, I got ID'd for the second time today. And he was like, what? And I was like, that's twice today. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. Because I basically said it's because I said I got ID'd in Bath when I came back from Bath.
Yeah.
Oh god, this sounds so middle class. We went to a Waitrose. You're in Bath. We have to go to a Waitrose. That is what it is. And I got a Fuller's Vintage Ale for 2024 because I was like, they're selling Fuller's Vintage Ale, if I may, because I have the last few years. So let's just add to the vertical. Great. And then I think I was getting like something else as well that sounds very middle class. It doesn't fit with the vintage ale. And I'm like checking out, and she looked at me and kind of like looked at me, looked at the booze, looked at me, looked at the booze, looked at me, looked at the booze again. And then my sister-in-law was like, she can show you ID if you want. And she was like, yeah, all right, go on then. And Rick went, that's not asking for ID.
Yeah,
you just said you'd give it to her. And I went, it was very clear she wanted my ID. She did like a quadruple take. What did you want me to do? And I gave the ID to her. And I was literally like, I mean, I'm happy to give you ID, but I think it's very funny that you think that if I was under 25 years old, I'd be buying Fuller's vintage ale. And like some bread or something that's like completely different to it. Brilliant. Or some chocolate or whatever. And Rick's like, nah, that's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
Like, if he's like, that's exactly what I would buy if I was underage. I'd buy the thing that you think that I wouldn't buy. And I was like, oh, I guess that's fair. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Age brackets.
Age brackets.
25 to 29, 10% of our listeners. 21% of our listeners are 30 to 34. Most of our listeners, 38%, are 35 to 44. Checks out.
That tracks.
Checks out.
Yeah.
21% are 45 to 54 and 8% are 55 plus. So we don't.
I'm surprised we have any 55 plus. Like, that's cool. It's probably like my mum.
Yeah.
Lets it run in the background.
2% 18 to 24. They're just not drinking.
That's
Young
true.
ones are not drinking.
No, that is true. I did hear that it's like there's such a drop.
Yeah.
In like consuming alcohol of people of a younger age. So
I was talking to a lady who
it's interesting, fascinating.
At Plymouth University, I think, or Portsmouth, Plymouth, one of the P universities, and they've closed the student union because students aren't going to it.
What's the student union? Is that like a, is it like a little pub or?
Yeah, it's like a subsidised bar. Usually on university campus.
Surely they could repurpose that though into like a drinks, but also a cultural centre or something. Probably, like that.
But they were closing it, and I was like,
"Wow,
what?"
Yeah, and I feel like I don't remember
a significant amount of time in our student union.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the podcast or if it was just I found an article and I was like, "This would be interesting to talk about on the podcast." But about people choosing, they want to like. There's not enough places to go out that are alcohol-free bars. And there's being this movement of opening bars that are like alcohol-free bars and stuff like that. And I thought that's really interesting because I would wonder what the vibes are like somewhere like that. If you know what I mean, like what are the vibes like at an alcohol-free bar? Like,
but surely you can make it as the same as another bar because you just gotta have like a space where you can talk and mocktails and if you're just sitting down having a nice drink, it doesn't have to be alcoholic, does it?
No, not at all. And that's what I mean is I'm like trying to envision that kind of space, and then I'm like, oh, would it be similar to like surely you wouldn't want it to be like a bar or a club to that degree because I don't know, maybe you would, but I just it's a really interesting thing to sort of think about, and just thinking about how younger generations just aren't drinking as much, but the 55 plus community got our backs. So
I don't know. There's only 8% of them.
That's more than
that's probably your mum.
More than the younger demographic.
So our listeners are from 18 different countries.
Taiwan.
Our top country is the United Kingdom. It doesn't tell me what other ones on the Spotify Wrapped.
I'm gonna pretend that the next one down's Taiwan.
Okay. Yeah. So we are the top podcast for 13 of our fans.
Oh,
yeah,
lucky 13.
And they listened 6.9 times more than any other listeners.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Oh no, we are the storyteller. Apparently,
the storyteller. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's our creative personality with a storyteller, which I'd say is about right.
I don't think that's not wrong for like a podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Nice. That was fun.
Our Spotify Wrapped.
That's fun. Should we jump into
Thanks,
our
listeners.
Untapped?
Sure.
Thanks, guys. I need to pull it up because I've taken screenshots of it.
Yeah, same.
Because they've done this like how they've done.
Well, they're all ripping off Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, and it's
so
like
all like sliding
next.
story slides, isn't it?
Did you do your actual Spotify Wrapped? Because I did mine, and it was just like
I did.
it was a weird mix. It was
was
funny. Well, it was just funny being like, in January you listened to
Oh yeah.
this, and then it was like, and then in May it was like January you're listening to like anime tunes, and then it was
Yeah.
like, and then in May you're listening to, and then it would just be like a really long genre that's like
Yes.
sad dad, midwestern, emo, blah 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 blah, or whatever, for like May, and then it's like December chill harp. Which is like,
chill
it
hop.
is such a
Yeah,
like,
it
I
was
don't know
interesting. What were mine? I was listening to Beach Country in February.
Beach Country
Beach
in
Country.
February.
In February, apparently. And then in March, I was in my Witchy Strut indie phase.
I like that. I like the name of that one. Mine was
I was
definitely
like,
like sad dad emo or something like that.
Sad dad emo.
I listened to a lot of Chapel Roan.
I
a lot.
was told by a friend the other day that I need to listen to Chapel Roan, and I haven't listened to any, so I need to.
Oh, once you start, you can't stop.
I'm aware that this will be a thing, so I'm
just hold off for as long as you can, because I even like the on like Instagram Reels, and then they've got like the Plankton voice singing Pink Pony Girl, like Pink Pony Club, and it's so good. And then that kept coming up as suggested Reels for me. Yeah. And then that's how I was like, okay, I might as well listen to this song. And then I listened to like one song, and then that perpetuated the algorithm to give me more Chapel Roan. And then I was like, all right, that one's a banger too. I guess I'll listen to that one as well. And then there were other ones I was like, I don't know if I like that. And then I was like, no, I've heard it a few times. I like it now. Yeah.
All right, so I need to, this is an early 2025 goal. Listen to Chapel Roan.
Yeah, fine. That sounds good.
Done. Right, so how many unique beers did you check in on your Untappd stats?
How many do you think I did? Do you want to like just guess a number?
I reckon you've done over 700.
Correct. I did 723 unique beers.
Just over me. I did 740.
I thought I was going to go higher. Like I was
yours were higher than me last year, so that's why I thought you might be higher than me this year.
I thought you were going to be higher than me because of all the traveling that you've done, and I keep forgetting to check shit in. So I was like, with the amount that I'm not checking stuff in, and you're traveling and going like, yep, try more things, more bottle shares. I thought you'd have gotten like, I was going to say like over 900.
Oh no, that's a lot.
But yeah, wow. Okay, I'll take that.
We've already talked about our styles.
I like the visual on this though.
It's a pint glass.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like how they've done that. They're your styles and the missed opportunities. Yeah. So 164 different styles actually is what it says. It's very sassy. Does
mine's only telling me mine's saying 190, which is incorrect. It's 191 actually.
Like, well, actually 191.
What was your top style?
Sour fruited.
Mine too.
Yay! And that says that it was the number 5 most popular style on Untappd.
Yeah. That was also my top beer style the year before.
I think it was mine before that as well. Yeah. I've just made peace with the fact that if we're going to guess each other's, like moving forward, just guess that.
Yeah. So it says that in total, not just unique, but all check-ins, I checked in 727 check-ins. And I've got a little map that...
Yeah, the map's really cool, isn't it?
Oh, they're very similar, look.
Yeah, just it's basically showing you where all your check-ins are. Yeah. So mine is 762 check-ins, and it says your 762 check-ins took you places, and then you can see. So like you can see when I was over in Canada and the US, and then going over to Belgium, the Netherlands.
Have you not got any Japan check-ins?
No, because that wasn't from this year. Oh. That was from last year. But obviously they didn't do this last year. Normally.
Yeah. I check in on Sundays.
It's mine says you're a big fan of Saturdays, huh? Like who isn't? Who isn't a big fan of Saturdays? Let's be real. Yeah. I checked in 241 times on Saturdays throughout the year. So my Saturday's 241. Sundays, my next high is at 162. Mondays 53. Tuesday 37, Wednesday 43, Thursday 95, and Friday 131. But like, who's not living for the weekend?
Exactly. So my highest day is Sundays, which checks out because like that's after a beer festival.
Fair. Well, you check it all in the next day. I would have thought that mine was like that, to be fair, but
Yeah.
I've been trying really hard to check in on the spot because
Or it's
if
me
I don't
checking
do
it in after midnight on the Saturday because I'm in bed checking everything in before I go home the next day.
And deleting photos.
238 on a Sunday, 203 on a Saturday, 119 on a Friday, 55 on a Wednesday, 52 on a Thursday, and 30 both on Monday and Tuesday.
That's blown my mind because I've just had to work backwards of how you did the numbers. I was like, oh, that's not Monday. We got there in the end. It's fine.
So it says that I checked into 104 venues, but I've actually counted back and I think I've actually been to 107. So I think there was a couple that weren't actual venues that I could check into.
I've checked into 81, it says, and it says that's 65 more than last year. But I also agree that I think a lot of the times there's not a venue to check into, or I've left it too long and tried to check in when I got home and then I'm too far away. So what's really great is where I live, I can go to the local breweries and I can still realistically check into pretty much any of the local breweries, except maybe some of the Reading ones. But I can say like, yeah, I'm there because I'm within X amount of time of it. Whereas like, if you're too far away, if I've gone up to Derby for work and then I drive home and I check something in after, I'm like, oh, it's too far away, I can't do it anymore. So that's a bit of a pain, which is kind of why I want to change up how I track some of the stuff next year so I can get more accurate numbers.
So I specifically worked on making sure that I checked in while I was able to get it into the actual venue if there was a venue. So I'm glad that I've gone up 45 venues this year because I got them in the right places. So there you go. What are your top venues?
My top venues.
I'm going to be not surprised.
Okay, do you want to try guessing them? Try guessing 1, 2, 3, 5 of them.
Ooh, so I reckon the top one is either going to be Siren, Elusive, or The Hive.
Nope. Top one is Disruption. The top one's Disruption. Because it goes by the amount, not the amount of times you've visited, the amount of check-ins you've done there. And I've gone to a lot of beer festivals at Disruption or had bottle shares there or... because my office is like right around the corner, the temporary office is around the corner. We go there for lunch on a Friday. So I had a lot of check-ins there. So that's my top one. Okay. But you weren't wrong. The Hive was number 2.
There we go. Yeah.
Elusive was number 3. Siren was number 5. But do you want to try to guess what my number 4 was?
Number 4?
Yeah. I'll give you one guess.
I'm trying to think where you've been. Is it a festival?
Nope.
Oh. I don't know then.
It's Suds and Soda.
Oh, I should have known that one.
Literally, I've done more check-ins at Suds and Soda than at Siren.
That's hilarious.
How good is that?
That is really funny.
I've done 54 at Disruption, 30 at The Hive, 27 at Elusive, 14 at Suds and Soda, and 10 at Siren. And I think it's just because when I go up to Derby, I probably would have done even more if I was there for longer periods of time. Mm-hmm. But because when I'm up there, it's for work and I'm only there like sometimes 24, maybe 48 hours. Obviously, there might be like one day where I'm having a few drinks, but I'm not going to sit there by myself for hours drinking. So there's like a few where I've had people go with me and we've had a few drinks. And then other nights where I've just gone for like one drink after work and that's it. That's hilarious. Okay, what about you?
So all of mine are event-based.
I couldn't guess what events, but I could guess that that is probably the case.
So my top one is Summer Hall, which was from Gravity Fest. I checked in 38 beers there. And second one is Nuremberg Messe, which was for Brew. So that was 31 check-ins. I was like, oh, that feels like a lot. But it's because of all the beers I tried at the European Beer Star. The Ashford Cinema. 16 beers, that's 2 different Gen Crafts. Brew York's 8th birthday bash, 15 check-ins. And Trafalgar Warehouse, 13 check-ins. That was Indie Beer Feast in the beginning of the year.
The 15 one, that's more than I've even done at like a whole year's worth of Suds and Soda. That's wild.
It's tastings at festivals.
It's true. To be fair, I will say the majority of like the ones I've checked in, they are like halves and fulls. How many different breweries have you checked in?
333.
I'm not that far behind you. I got 306.
Oh,
and
that's
none of this is
48 more
actually
than last year.
including Good Chem, but Good Chem I would have already checked in, so it wouldn't have counted anyways. Mine's 163 more than last year.
Oh, that was good going.
Yeah.
Last year, I checked in 300. Oh no, there's 48 less than last year. I checked in 361 last year.
Jeez.
And that was, interestingly, that was 48 more than last year than 2022. So I've gone back down 48.
So you've like, jumped up one and then went back.
And then
I wonder what's happened that's caused that trend.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Right, your top breweries.
Oh, so I feel like this is interesting this year. So my top brewery is Brew York.
Okay.
I've had 15 of their beers this year. Not really surprising. Tartarus is my second biggest one.
You did say.
As I said,
you've seen them a lot.
I've seen a lot. I've spent a lot of time with Jack and Jordan this year. 14 check-ins. Siren, 14 check-ins. And to be fair, I don't think that's you. I think
I don't think it's me. It's not me.
I think it's because I've seen Sean a fair amount this year. Crossover Blendery, 14 check-ins. I've done 2 different tastings with Crossover this year, so that's not a surprise. And then Elusive, 12 check-ins.
What's really interesting, well, I'm gonna 2 observations. One is my top brewery amount of check-ins is like wildly higher for each than each of yours.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. And 2, I said this before we started recording, we still haven't found out what the secret ingredient is in those Tartarus beers.
Yeah.
And that's going to drive me mad.
I'm going to have to get hold of Jack. I think they're on holiday at the moment. So
I've seen a post and I would guess they are on holiday. But I tried Googling it to like figure out if they'd posted it anywhere.
Yet. No, I don't think they have.
Literally haven't seen it anywhere. So we need to find out, because that is gonna just, how do I know how wrong I was? I'm getting to a point where I don't even remember what I said anymore. And I'm gonna have to listen back, which I'm gonna hate doing, just to find out what I said.
Tom said he thinks it's yeast. Because he felt
that was one of the answers.
Yeast. So I think we ended up going with hops, but I think it's different yeast. He said that's a Jack thing to do.
We narrowed it down because I think yeast was one of the options, but my exact wording was it could very well be yeast, but surely if they were trying to brew however many beers and the same recipe, they might have used the same base beer, and it might have been harder to change the yeast up. So that would be interesting to see. My top brewery check-in, so mine, none of them, there's only one that I think is surprising comparatively. Okay. So Disruption, 36 check-ins, Elusive, 31 check-ins, Siren, 23 check-ins, Vault City, 20 check-ins. I check in a lot at Vault City.
I'm surprised I haven't got more that Vault City's not on this list, actually.
I'm surprised Yonder's not like higher up on this list, because I feel like Vault City and Yonder... I wonder if that counts like collaborations as well, because I've had a lot of collaborations with Vault City as well.
I think I've drunk less Yonder this year, but I've definitely had a fair amount of Vault City.
And then my last one's Microbrasserie for Origins, which is a Montreal. It's a Quebec based brewery in Montreal, so 12 check-ins there. So that one was surprising, because I don't think I really enjoyed them, but I didn't expect them to be one of my top brewers compared to somebody like Yonder, for example.
Nice.
What was your top beer?
Can you please guess what my top beer was?
Oh god, is it going to be Alaskan Brewing?
No.
Oh, I don't know. That's my only guess.
Duchess.
Yeah, that's true. I
seem to have a few Duchesses this year while I was out and about, so that's my top beer.
Mine is Burlington Beer Company's Peasant Bread. It says I checked in 762 beers, but only one was on top, and that's peasant bread. And the whole thing is because obviously in the US you have to buy things in like a 4-pack, and you've got to get like a 4-pack of the beer. I think I brought you back a peasant bread actually.
I don't think I've got it.
I think I gave it to you, but I don't know. But basically, I ended up drinking it was really nice. I had some while I was there, and then I was like, I want to take some back, so it'd be really funny to play D&D while drinking peasant bread. Right, all of your top beers. Go through your top 5. Beers.
I feel like it just takes a random selection of the ones that I've given 5 stars to. But
I don't know how they work this out.
I don't know
how did peasant bread get the top?
Yeah, so I think I've checked in Duchess a couple of times, so that's why that's ended up at the top. But then everything else, I think I've only checked in once. So Moonflower from Hidden Springs that we had when we were on Bermondsey.
That was a good one.
Sugar and Spice from Vault City.
That was also a good one.
One Winged Angel from Boutiliers. And Chocolate Stout from Rogue Ales.
Were all of yours 5s?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, because all my top ones are 5s as well. So
I think it's just randomly taken.
Yeah, I don't know why peasant bread got the top. I don't know if it's because I had it the most and it was a 5.
Yeah.
So that's the top. And then I've got Hidden Springs, Black Aggie Double Barrel Fluffernutter.
Ooh.
And then Treehouse's Queen Julius, because I've had quite a few of those. I am not going to pronounce this right, but it's Parish Brewing Co.'s Rev Coffee Stout. Mm-hmm. That one has a little trophy under it that says community winner. So I don't know what that means. And then Dutch Bargains Iced Coffee Connoisseur, moi, Frappuccino Edition, V2, Red Velvet White Chocolate Vanilla Rainbow Sprinkle Donut. It ain't much
when we were on Bermondsey as well.
It's true. And I like the name because it's like Iced Coffee Connoisseur, moi. And then there's also a really ridiculously long name. So like when you go to Starbucks and you want something and you're like, I just want to say that one, please. But I have to read out like 20 words and I'm like, sorry. Yeah. Oh, should we skip the bad ones?
I mean, my bad ones are not a surprise. I've got Keystone Light, Miller Light, and then I don't think this is bad. So Keystone, I was not in a good mood when I only gave Keystone 1.5 stars. Miller Light, I gave 2.5 stars to, and then I've got Flensburger Pilsner, which I've only given a 3 to, which 3 isn't that bad, actually.
I feel like, that's... Now I remember the US blind tasting, that episode is coming up. One of the beers that I was adamant I had correct was Miller.
Yeah.
Because the fact we had Miller, in our episode we were recording it, and I was like, I'm having a Miller awakening, where I was like... Miller's actually not that bad. Miller's not that bad. And then I managed to get some of it in the US, and then I had it for this blind tasting, and I was like, I know this taste. This is Miller because it's not that bad. And then I was like, but what if it's not Miller? And then that's shocking and appalling because I was adamant that it was Miller. Mine, I think the lowest rating that I had was 2.25. So even the lowest rating's not awful, but it was Woodland Farms Brewery in Maine, double chocolate, peanut butter, non-alcoholic dark. And to be fair, I got that stout because I thought I didn't really read the label properly. Yeah. I didn't realize it was non-alcoholic. So I went in thinking it was going to be one type of flavor and mouthfeel. And it was very much not. And I'm glad when I realized it was non-alcoholic, I was like, I don't really want to waste bag space taking it home over some other things that I got. So I drank it while I was packing my bag. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't use the bag space on it because it was not good. The second worst one was Delirium Red. Obviously, Delirium, because it's 2.75.
Like Delirium Red?
I think because of where I had it.
Okay.
Because I had it at not the proper Delirium Cafe. I had it at the shitty bar that's also in the exact same area. And we went into not the one.
Yeah.
That was the right one. And then Terra Tempo Brewing Break, which was, I think that's ex-Cloud Water, and he brews over in Surrey.
Yeah.
Really interesting ideas and really interesting stuff, but I had it at a bottle share, and I didn't love the balance of the flavours in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I've only had 2 from them, so that was the one that I was just didn't love it. But just my taste buds. How many badges did you get?
I got 276 badges this year, which is 46 less than the year before.
I did 449 badges,
Ooh.
and that's 222 more than last year, and I like that it's round numbers.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just like won a jackpot. Top badges?
I've hit level 100 on Highlander, level 100 on 2X, level 100 on Land of the Free, level
Freedom.
81 of Sky's the Limit, and 79 on Bar Explorer. And so I think Bar Explorer is a good one because that's where I've been trying to do all my check-ins in the place or near the place where they were. So that's a good one.
I have hit level 100 on Pucker Up, Fruits of Your Labour, and To Go Please, as well as 99 bottles. And then I hit level 99 on Heavyweight.
Nice. See, I feel like on some of those I'm already on 100, so that's why I'm not getting many because I've already done that many.
Local badges. I feel like mine are pretty easy. Well, 2 of mine are easy to guess.
I only got Beer Merchant's Tap.
Fair. I've got Siren Craft Brew, that's level 44. Disruption, level 9.
Wow.
Brewski Pub and Tap Room, level 2. And Melon Brasserie, level 1. But to be fair, I think that's also because Elusive only just have gotten proper Untappd, like business Untappd, where it's like a verified venue. Yeah. So I think, to be fair, that's probably why they're not on that list.
Elusive will be on there next year.
Probably. This is my favourite one. This is what I thought would be really interesting to see the results of this next one, of like who your beer friends are.
Was you and Lou again? And this year I've checked in 115 times with you and 6 times with Lou.
I've checked in 120 with you.
Oh, where have I missed some then?
I don't know.
Sometimes I forget to do the podcast ones, so you probably remember.
I've done the podcast ones where I've remembered to do them, and there might have been some that I've forgotten to tag you in or something. But Rick still takes the cake at a whopping 418 check-ins together. So you are like 300 check-ins.
I'm a lot less.
300 check-ins off. But then I've also got my friend Amy. I've got 35 check-ins with her because I've done a few beer crawls with her. And Ruth, I've got 12 check-ins with Ruth and 3 check-ins with my friend Mike. So
there you go.
But I don't have everyone that I drink with on Untappd. So it's like I kind of wish that I had more people on Untappd, because I want to be like, I want to know realistically who is the person that I'm drinking the most with. Because like sometimes I tag Rick because he's had some of what I've had. Yeah. But like I have more of the drink with you, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you are still, that is a deficit. Yeah. But yeah, that's all of our Untappd, I think.
Yeah.
Exciting. Should we crack the next beer? Because I'm thirsty now. What do you have next?
So continuing with the theme of making sure that I'm ticking off different beer styles, I have the Host from Canterbury Ales, which is a winter warmer.
Ooh, I
do try and pick up this like most Christmases because it's their Christmas beer, and it is really nice. And also this year I noticed that they've added on what cheese you should pair it with and what dish it pairs with.
I had cheese and charcuterie for dinner and I'm not done having it. I'm just going to... This is the season of cheese.
Season of cheese.
Mine is the microbrasserie for Origins, and it's called L'Amour and Cage. And I just really like the label. And obviously because they were like one of the secret top breweries that I didn't expect to have as a top brewer, I thought, well, I'll have their beer. But it's an IPA. So I don't know if it will tick anything off. Not a clue. But we'll find out, I guess.
Ooh, this is so spicy. So this will apparently pair well with Wensleydale and plum pudding.
I'm not sure if I can get down with the plum pudding, but Wensleydale, maybe. We'll see. Oh, God, this smells a bit... Like, this smells like it's going to be really acidic.
Oh.
Grapefruit. Farty. Guava, yeah. But, like, I get the two for me are, like, just really... I feel like they're really closely picked up for me like that. There's guava. Weirdly doesn't taste acidic. The taste feels so wildly different than the smell.
Yeah.
So I've just looked this one up.
Yeah.
And it says that it's like listed as an IPA other. And it says it's a ground cherry IPA.
A ground cherry?
Yeah. Which, yeah, that, I guess that also explains why there's kind of that like acidic smell you get when you have like more of a tart beer.
Like a sour cherry.
But then it doesn't
Smell like
taste. Yeah, but it doesn't taste. It had that same similar. It didn't smell like cherry, but it had that acidic type of smell that you get when you have a tart beer.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I actually took a sip, I was like, oh, it's nothing like that. But I do get more cherry in the taste, weirdly. But like not a traditional...
Yeah.
Not traditional cherry, and I wouldn't even say it tastes massively tart or anything like that. Just interesting. Like, I can't say it's like an IPA I've ever had before. Yeah. And it's not bad. Right. Should we run through Drinks Harder challenge?
Yeah, can do. I feel like we've done quite a lot of it. I don't think I did anything this last quarter.
Ooh. So I know we both did number 1, which was the drink the beer that you've had in the fridge the longest. So we've already like wiped that one out. I did that in Q2.
Yeah.
You've definitely done that as well. And then I think in Q2, the second one, which was drink a lineup where each beer starts with the name of your home state. I did Massachusetts, you did Florida.
Yep.
And then we also did Berkshire and Kent.
Yep.
I definitely got stitched up on this, but it's okay because by the end of Q2,
I can do about that.
I know. By the end of Q2, I had finished Massachusetts, and on our last episode, wrapping things up, I was like, all that I have left in Berkshire is the K, and I was like, and I really want to drink Combini, so I then just drank Combini.
Good, and it was
so
good.
I finished
wasn't
it. It was really good, but it took me to Q4. It was a straight 5-star for me, Combini.
Yeah.
So great. I finished that on a 5-star. I can't complain. Did you do all of yours? I can't remember if you had done all of yours or not.
I've done the home state ones. Then we both enjoyed a happy hour special.
Yep.
We've both attended or hosted a beer share.
Yep.
We've both taken a friend to a bar they've never been to.
Sure did. And then order a mocktail or a non-alcohol beer for yourself. I did mine last quarter.
Yep.
So
I did mine in the first quarter. So we did drink 10 different fruits. You have smashed
I'm
that.
still going.
You're still going with that. How many
I've done another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this quarter alone. Any guess on how many you think I'm up to?
48.
Close, 46.
Oh.
Yeah, so this quarter I've done lychee. So that was the Combini, the Burnt Mill and Don Zoco. Yuzu, which was Otherworld's Immortal, which that was another like 5-star, just amazing beer. I've got Apple, which was Vault City, Sugar and Spice. I looked through the ingredients for Sugar and Spice as I was documenting some of this down today and discovered that there was carrot in it as well. Like, I was like, did you know about this? Because
I did not.
I had no idea. Found that really interesting. For Collabogeddon, I had a beer that was Roosters and Lost Cause called Bill Berry, and it had bilberry in it, and I didn't know that was a fruit. And I found out I was today years old when I found out that was a fruit. But I was also today years old when I found out that Green Gage was a fruit.
Oh, yeah, Green Gages are a thing.
Yep, didn't know. Had Balanced Breweries Green Gage 2023. And then when we had the Mold Dock Cherry from Vault City, black cherries and that. So I considered black cherry different than normal cherry because I was like, that feels... There's some things that I'm like, fair. No, but like orange versus like blood orange. I'm like, okay, that's different. But like Valencia orange, I'm like, that's orange.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. Up to 46 now.
There we go. So drink an award-winning beer from another country. We've both done that.
I stopped keeping track because I would find that I found that this one was a little bit vague because it's just like drink an award-winning beer from another country, and a lot of them, when you actually look at them, it's like, oh, this one's silver in 2020, but it didn't say it had to have won an award this year.
Yeah.
So I stopped keeping track because I was like, oh my God, in Q1, I had already smashed
We'd already
loads.
done that. Go to a brewery and write about the experience for a blog. Well,
Did you do it?
No. I had a look today.
I was hoping you'd have some good news.
I had a look today to see how many breweries I've actually visited this year. I've been to 28 different breweries this year. But none of them I actually went to and like took notes and took enough photos and stuff to actually write a blog post about. I was going to do like a spread in my beer journal showing the different ones that I've been to, but I didn't get around to it. So I didn't do that.
As per usual, I wrote lots of notes and took lots of photos. And then sometimes I think I take too many photos because then it becomes like I have to sort through the photo. Yeah. And then I'm like, that's a later me problem. And then it becomes too late that my brain's like, I can't remember. I wanted to do one for Echo. And I guess it's not really too late, to be fair. But I just haven't got around to do it. And I probably won't get around to doing it by the end of this year. There's still a few more days. So I think we can mop up anything that we've done between now and the end of the year. So maybe I can mop this one up, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm trying to do my best to relax. So probably not. But I really did want to do one for Echo because I really enjoyed my time there. And I did take lots of photos and videos and we had a really, really good time.
Yeah.
Really good drinks, really good vibes overall. But unfortunately, I did not do this yet. Caveat.
Yeah. Same. Cook a savoury dish and bake a sweet dish. I knocked this out right at the beginning. Have you done that yet?
I had done the savoury dish, but I didn't do the sweet dish because I think I just sort of forgot about it. I'm not going to lie. I've done it before and then I'm just like, oh, CBA. Like sometimes Rick now tends to make most of our pigeons. And if I say, oh, we should put beer in it, he's like, why does everything have to have beer in it? And so that's what we get to.
Just didn't get
yeah, just didn't not even that I didn't get around to it. I could have done it. I just completely forgot about it.
Get a beer in a sidecar or bomb at a dive bar. We've both done that.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't done that? I thought
I
you had
haven't.
done it.
No.
I mean, I've done it twice, so
can that count? Can you transfer one to me?
You can have one of mine.
I didn't because to be honest, I didn't really get to go to many dive bars. Like a lot of my trips this year have either been work related and there was very clear things I was doing.
Yeah.
Or it was very much like I'm going to this place for craft beer.
Yeah.
So I didn't end up in what I would consider a dive bar. What I would consider a dive bar. Probably not what Tom would consider a dive bar either. I don't know. We put that to bed. We're not talking about that. We buried the hatchet. We've buried the hatchet. We're okay. We've made peace. But I've just not really had the opportunity to go to a dive bar to do that, if that makes sense. And I just sidecars are just drinks like that. I'm like, oh no.
This is why Tom makes me do these when I'm with him, because this is something that we then do together.
It is that thing of like Jaeger bombs when someone walks over to you with a Jaeger bomb and you're like, no, and they're like, no, but I got this for you, and you're like, okay, but like you never want to do it, but you do it if it's handed to you. I'm never ordering it, and Rick would never buy one. But if we were somewhere else and someone else was like, I got Jaeger bombs, I'd be like, fine.
You can say no at any time. But I just pointing that out.
I can't. I feel bad.
Drink 5 beers each for each one of the 5 American sea hops. So we did that.
Smash
How many
that.
hops have you got on your list now?
Oh, how many hops do I have on my list? It's difficult because my list also includes when it's like hops in most forms, but then if there's like specific ones called out, like if they've used, like, the cryo on something or hop product. So like I've got like normal mosaic and then I've got like spectrum mosaic. So all that kind of stuff. But if I consider everything, I have got 115.
Good going.
But I think I'm going to probably track it in a better way next year where I'm going to be like mosaic, normal, mosaic, like mosaic unspecified, or like, so that I can group them together to make it a lot easier.
Yeah. Play a movie drinking game. I did do this one in this quarter. I did this at Halloween.
I did too. We did the same thing, but we just didn't get to sync
We
up
didn't
on
get it together. We were going to do it together, but we didn't. But we put a little witch's hat on the TV and played Hocus Pocus.
I put a legitimate hat on it, and you just did an adorable little... Yours was so cute. You just did a cute little like paper one that you just like stuck on the TV.
I tacked it on the corner, and then I drank pumpkin beers.
Same.
While I was doing it, so it's good. Ask for a recommendation from a bartender. Both done that.
Q1 done.
Buy someone a drink for their birthday.
Done.
Visit a winery. Have you been to a winery?
No, and I'm annoyed because this was arguably one of the easier ones for me to do because I've got at least 2 wineries within commutable distance, and we were talking about a meetup spot for tomorrow, and it was like, can any of us be asked to take the train really far? Like, no, not really. And I was like, but I haven't ticked off the winery, and like, but I don't really want to I don't really want to go that far, but like, I want to tick off the winery. We're not taking off the winery.
We're not taking off the winery, guys. It's not happening. Have a beer at 10 different breweries. I've done that. You've done that.
I stopped counting after 35. I know I've done more, but I stopped counting after 35. Yeah.
Have you done a beer mosa? You have done a beer mosa.
Yep.
Yep, and I've done a beer mosa. We've both attended events at breweries.
Yep.
We've both drunk a whiskey drink, a vodka drink, a lager drink, and a cider drink.
Sure have.
We've both drunk a stout barrel aged 0 to 12 months, 13 to 24 months, and 25 plus months.
Yep.
We've both ordered a flight of beers that are all different colours.
Yep.
So I didn't get to tip the bill for my drinks 100% of the tip.
What are you doing?
Because whenever I'm doing it, I'm not either somewhere where they don't do tips. There isn't.
It's like you didn't go to America.
Yeah, but it wasn't my money. It's work money.
That's even more the reason why you should tip. 100%.
No, it's not. Not some of the sizes of the bills that I was paying my friends.
That's true. That is arguably correct. Yeah.
No, so I didn't get to do that, but you've done that.
I've done that.
And we both made a 5-ingredient beer cocktail.
We did.
So there's only 3 that I didn't do.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I think we're probably even.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I only had 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I only had 3 as well. So
pretty good going.
Won't complain.
There you go.
Right, our personal goals, because you had more abstract personal goals.
Yeah. So, blog about beer once a month. I did start off strong doing that. In quarter 1, I did 8 blogs, and then in quarter 2, I did 3 more blogs. And I was trying to go for 24 blogs in 24, but then I ran out of time because, like, the beginning of the year is quieter, so it was easier to do it. And then when I got into, event season, it wasn't so easy. So then I was going to do pages in my beer journal. In quarter 3, I got 12 spreads completed. I think I've now got 15 spreads completed in this journal, but that's as far as I've got. So I've got... And I think I'm going to use my journal for tracking things next year, so that'll be more interesting. And I have got a tracker in here that's my try all the beers. So that's from those books where there's, 1,001 beers to try before you die. I've got a tracker about that in here, as well as my... I might have to redo my beer style tracker because that's my 2024 one, so I might have to redo that in here. But no, I didn't blog about beer once a month because I ran out of time. Try more beer styles, and my goal was 170. Smash that. I also wanted to try, after my birthday in April, I said I wanted to try more cider styles, which I did. And I have tried, let's have a look, cider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cider styles, plus I've got another 2 downstairs, so that'll be 7 cider styles.
My problem is I've got so many different, I do have a few different ciders, or I'll go someplace and I'll see there's a cider there. My biggest problem is then being now I've got to look up to be is this something that's different to what I've had? I find that it's not as intuitive to know what it's it's harder to guess the cider styles and the mead styles arguably without looking them up on Untappd. Whereas the beers, it's very clear. It's you can pretty much, even though there's some variation, you can kind of look at the label and be cool, I can work out what to expect. It's probably gonna be or close enough to on Untappd. With the ciders and meads, it's
Yeah,
I don't know.
you do have to put them up, which is what I've been doing. But smashed my beer
Stuff's not
styles,
going.
and I think I smashed my cider styles goal as well. So pretty pleased with that. Practice good stash management and pairing in beer with cozy hobbies. So I kind of ran out of time to do my beer pairing, but that's fine because I've been doing my journal instead. But I have got my stash down. There is room in both of my beer fridges.
Wow.
I know. I'm very impressed with myself.
I'm impressed.
So I'm very, very pleased with that.
I think I've got a problem is I haven't updated my spreadsheet properly, so I need to go back through and update my spreadsheet properly. I need to go back through and delete stuff from my spreadsheet because I think even though it's suggesting that I need to find a way to work out because it's like saying I've got more than I want to have at the moment.
Right.
But a lot of the stuff that I got, not a lot of the stuff, but like there is a good handful of stuff which are purposefully being aged.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do I differentiate those?
Yeah.
From my or like they're ones that can be aged, and I'm like, save those for a special occasion, because they're fancy aged bigger beers.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, but how do I differentiate that from my actual stash that I'm like, oh, because I think that's where I'm at the moment, where I've got a lot of beers that I've collected that are like, okay, this is specifically for aging, or I've inherited it from somebody else. Like that's so like the vintage ale, I'm like, that's specifically for aging. Okay, cool. But it's on my spreadsheet as a beer, but then like I know that's not gonna go down until I choose to drink it. Yeah. So it's a bit. I need to find a way to differentiate those two, I think. So I
maybe
can be
you
like,
need a
what's
cellar
aging,
list and a regular list.
What's being aged and what's bottle share specific versus what is like what's a special beer versus just like a normal beer. But I do agree that though I wouldn't say I've got like room in my fridges, I do think that despite me looking on my spreadsheet like I've got way more than I want, I feel like I've noticed that there's more space because I literally just went through and was trying to find what I was going to drink tonight, and I was shuffling things around and I was like, oh, I do feel like I've done it. I think my downfall is my stouts and my porters, my dark beers, because those are the ones that I know Rick also wants to drink, so I have to wait till he's also in the mood to drink them, and that's not all the time. So I'm like, well, shit. So I end up accumulating all these really nice sounding stouts, but then they're not something I could. I know some people like to just pound high ABV beers till the cows come home. That's just not me. I'm like, I want to enjoy it, and I want to sit down and enjoy it and have a nice experience with it.
I'm just finding that I'm drinking less at home. Like even over Christmas, Christmas Day, it got to the end of Christmas Day, and I was like, oh, I was going to have a beer, and then I just didn't get around to opening one. And then I had a celebration ale with dinner on Boxing Day when my family was around, and I was like, we were sat down watching telly, and I was like, I am going to have a beer. So I cracked out a bottle of Oud Creek from Lindemans, so I could sit and enjoy that while we were watching telly. But that's it. I literally had 2 beers over Christmas, and that was it.
Jeez, I've definitely had more, but I think I was more trying to clear stuff out because I'm like, I just want to get some of the stuff out that like, if I don't drink all of it, it's not the end of the world. Like if I have some of it and I go, oh, I don't want the rest of it, it's not the end of the world. So yeah. Oh yeah, I need to do better at that. But
I think I'm down now. I don't think my spreadsheet's right. I think there's some stuff missing off of it. It's telling me I've got 130 beers, and I think it might be between 130 and 150.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to say how much my spreadsheet tells me I have because it's not cleaned up yet, and it's going to sound even worse than it actually is. I think my goal for next year has to be to get my stouts down. I think what I might do at the end of this year, so not unfortunately, it's a positive thing. I'm going to a friend's house for New Year's Eve. We always spend when we're in the UK, we always spend New Year's Eve with our friends, and I love that, and I think it's great. But like they live further away from us now than they used to, so it's like driving distance. So like either Rick or myself's not going to be able to drink as much because we're going to either be driving or I guess we can stay there. But is what it is. And yeah, I think what I'd like to do for New Year's is just try to go through and be like, what are some of the oldest things that I've got in my fridge, and like just clear them out. Like just even if I only have like part of a can and I go, nope, awful, and I get rid of it. Like I would love to be able to like just get rid of some of the stuff that's been sat there, that's been on my shame shelf,
Yeah, the shame shelf.
On the shame shelf.
Let's be real, we've all got the shame shelf.
It's a shame. It's a real shame shelf. Like, it's bad. And the problem is when I looking at my list of what I've done, the one that I've manually created, and I look at the serving methods that I've done. So I know this is varying slightly from what we were just talking about,
No,
but
fine.
follow me down this path.
Yeah.
So the serving methods that I've got 203 in a bottle, 232 in can, 13 cask, 275 draft keg, and one. So I checked in one as a slushie when I actually had one at Phantom that was out of a slushie machine, and I was like, this is an option now. This is great. But from all of those beers, only 94 of those were past their best before date. 294 were not past their best before date, and obviously some of those past their best before is going to be.
Have you marked that on your spreadsheet?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do that next year.
Yeah. I already started to kind of reimagine how I wanted to do the spreadsheet so I could make it more easy to kind of do stuff and again slightly replace Untappd. So like maybe I don't even bother rating on Untappd or unless it's something that's like really need to remember this. But I might even just do my own ratings like on my spreadsheet anyways if I want to, because it'll be personal taste. But I had done all that because I was like, I kind of want to see when I'm having something that's past best before. But some of the past best before is stuff that does say it's suitable for aging, or it's a US beer that has no date on it. And I'm just like, I know I got this quite a while ago. But 94 past best before date with 294 not past, that's not that, like, that's genuinely not that bad. And I put that down to the fact that when I see that I've got beers that are past their best before, I'm like, oh, that's a future me problem. And then I'm kind of like, that can be like a next month's problem, and like maybe I'll have it next month, or like I'll sit down and be like, oh, maybe today's the day that I'll clear out a few. And then it gets to that point and I'm like, no, I don't think I want to do that. Maybe that will be next month I'll do that. I've looked at some of these beers that I've had that are probably from at least 2022, and I've gone, I should just try it, a bit of it, and dump the rest. And I'm like, good, maybe not just yet, because if it tastes really good and then I check it in, everyone thinks that I'm a dickhead. So yeah, maybe it'll be like a start of like January, so then I can track it on my new thing and hide my shame. Then I can hide my shame from Untappd because I'll start it in this other tracker, so it'll be fine. Anyway, so back to your goals.
Anyway, that's it. That was my goals. So I think I've done pretty well. Like
I think so.
At the beginning, I think the way that I've shared content has changed over the year. Like I've had to be realistic about what time I've got.
Yeah.
And about how I want to use my time when I've got spare time. Like I was kind of putting pressure on myself to, make content for Instagram and make content for the website. And actually, I don't need to. Like, we put out this podcast every week. Like, that's a good amount of content. So, I kind of let myself do things that I wanted to do rather than things I felt like I should.
I know when you did your book Instagram as well, and you were like, and I'm thinking I'll do this setup and these colours and this, and I was just like, girl, don't feel that you have to put yourself on a schedule, because like this should be fun, and if it's not fun,
I'm posting when I want to post, and I'm posting what I want. I'm posting what I want to post when I want to post it. But I think also I want to do a bit more of that in Love Beer Learning, because sometimes I do, like, I'll take photos. Like, sometimes it's really hard to have something after the at the end of a festival or an event where I've done something, because I haven't had time. I'm working during those things now. Like, I'm not there just having a beer and enjoying myself. I'm working, so sometimes there isn't time to take a little video or take some photos, or I didn't get a good photo because we were so busy we didn't get to it. So I'm then like, I haven't got, I should make that into a reel, or I should put that up, or I should do this. And, you want to do it in a particular chunk of time so that people see it at the right time. And actually, I think I just need to be like, I did this thing, here's some pictures. I did this thing, here's, if I had a video, here's a video, like, and just post it whenever. Like, don't worry about when I do it. Just, I keep wanting to do like one of those day in the life of an events manager, and I start off strong because I'm like, I'm going to do this, and then I get busy and don't have time to do the rest of it. And I'm like, this is the life of an events manager. You take one video and then you run out of time to do the rest of it because you're sorting things out.
Oh God, I can't even imagine. Like, what my day in the life would be chaos. Day in the life of a manager of project managers who also manages everyone else and is a project manager. Like, it's just me being like, ah. It's like, that's what it should be.
Everything's
just me
on fire.
right, like, it'll just be a clip of a goose just like paddling underwater, but on the top being like, ooh, and then it will say like, don't bring your silly goose attitude over here, and I'll be like, I'm coming over.
So I think next year I just need to do what I want to do and not worry about it.
I think my struggle is I've definitely 100%, and this is potentially something that warrants a separate conversation and a separate episode, is like, I feel like I've definitely fallen out of love with like some of the forums, and I mean all of the forums really. I can barely be asked to post in any of those, and the times that I have posted in this last year, I feel like the majority of them I've deleted for various reasons. And then even on like Instagram, like, I find that the majority of what I do, I get so just burnt out that I'm just like, cool, just share the podcast and that's it. And I've stopped really sharing content that's like stuff that I've created. And I think what happens is kind of exactly as you said. It's like, I'll take all these photos, and some of the photos will be like really good photos, and I'm like, I want to share them, but then also like the energy it takes to think of a caption to put with it,
then
or
you've got to write a caption,
and you've got to write a caption, get the hashtags.
Think about hashtags, although apparently hashtags are becoming less relevant. But
well, I mean,
like,
I'd be happy with that.
All these things, like, then you've got to think about what you want to write, and you know, make sure the top bit's good, because that's really the only bit that people are going to read.
Yeah, and it can't be too long, but it also can't be too short. If it's too short, it doesn't get the message across. If it's too long, people won't read it, and it's just like.
And then I go, oh, I'm too tired for this, and don't do it.
My brain just gets overloaded, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I can't do it. And it's like, even if I get a nice little blurb, I'm like, oh, then it's like you said, the hashtags, and then I'm like, I can't. Like, it ends up being so much, and then so I'm just like, here's a Home Alone house that I built, and then people are like, this isn't big.
I've been enjoying I
didn't post well when I got sick.
Yeah,
that's it was downhill. And then I recorded a few of me catching up to the days. I have finished it is awesome, but I haven't posted the finished product, so I think I probably need to post like, here's what the finished product is. But again, it's like, I have all these different photos and a video going around it and stuff like that, and it's so cool and so many awesome details, and you can't even see half the details, which is just like pisses me off, because I'm like, they need to do this in a better way so you can see the coolest light up details. But I need to like share that. But what happens is like, I'll share something and it's like not beer related, and then it's like, I feel like anytime if I don't post things, my following goes up, and then it's like I post something and it's beer related, and then like all of a sudden my following goes down, and it's like, that's fine, I don't really care. I'm not here for the follows. But then it's like, I post something that's non-beer related, and then it's like, well, okay, then I have the wrong people following me. So when then I post beer stuff, it's like, okay, then it drops down again. Or I feel like I was probably really annoying people with posting like, here's another Home Alone clip again, because it was just like Home Alone, repost to the podcast, Home Alone, repost to the podcast, and barely anything else. So I think like for me, that's probably something that will end up on my list, is maybe trying to find a way.
Let's make Instagram back fun again. Love.
In
2025.
Let's not co-op that one. That's not the one. Let's not make anything again. Let's just go like, let's reignite our passion. We don't want to be like, let's make Instagram fun again. That's not the one you want to co-op on, I think. In terms of my goals, I had 4 key ones. And one was average seeing each other once per month, which that did not.
We did not do that.
No, it was literally like, yes. It's like, no. And then we managed to see each other in November.
We did.
And then more no.
And then no.
And to be fair, I was going to see you in December, but I felt really bad, because I was like, I'm home, but I really don't want you to drive 2 hours. To then
I was going to drive all the way to you to drop off your stuff,
stay for a bit,
I've got your
drive
Christmas
back
present, and I've got your birthday present, and I've got a big bag of beer for you, and I've got a pink pumpkin for you.
Yeah, I know, that'll be year round, so it's okay, there's no rush on that. But I've got your early birthday present, which we can talk about after. But got your early birthday present, and I was like, I'm so excited, I can't wait for your birthday. That's too many months away to tell you about that, and your Christmas present and all that fun stuff. But I was like, I can't in good conscience have you drive 2 hours to stop and turn around and go back again.
I mean, I was going to, but we'll just meet up in the new year.
I'd rather just like plan it properly, meet up in the new year, and not have the pressure of like a 3-hour turnaround.
I've now got us a voucher, so
I still can't believe it. I'm like, I think Rick's going to be jealous.
He's going to be jealous. Yeah,
he's going to be super jealous. So yeah, we'll have to work that out. We'll talk. Don't spoil that. Because that's a really cool thing. That's like, that could be what reignites our passion and makes Instagram great again. Whatever we would go on.
Makes it fun again.
Yeah, make it fun again. My second one was host/organise my own bottle share, which I did. That was in July. And then 3 was take a holiday to a beer specific destination / travel outside the UK specifically for beer, which I did do specifically when I went on the Tour de Guers, which you unfortunately couldn't go to. Boo! We'll have to just do it again in a few years. But then I also did do US and Canada, and one of the stops was very clearly specifically for beer.
I'm quite impressed that I managed to do all of the lambic styles without going to Belgium.
I know, and I didn't. But to be fair, the one that I missed, I feel like was probably a really like specific one. I've got like quads and dubs and trips for days. I've got trip traps for days, and I'm just like, I almost made myself a trip trap the other night actually, because I was like, I was reading my book and I was like, oh, I fancy a trip trap though, and then I was like, but then I don't really want to open 2 bottles, 2 beers, and then that it messes you up. Trip traps mess you up, but I do recommend. And then my number 4 was beer crawl through a city I've not been to yet. So I did do Burlington, Vermont, but I also did Manchester in less than 24 full hours. Well, in just over 24 full hours, but not 24 hours. That were like drinking hours. So that was fun. And then you didn't do the beers to buy or try, did you?
No,
but I did. I had All Day Brewing, which rolled over, Cromarty, which rolled over. I didn't do either of those. I had Sacred Profane, but I finished that before 2024. So it was like drink more of the kernel, which I did much more. Jump Ship Brewing, which you kindly brought back for me. That was great. So I have had that. Grape Ales, which I did. Indian Brewery on the list, but they were really hard to find outside of London Craft Beer Festival, and I didn't even see them when I was at the short window I was at London Craft Beer Festival. They're opening a big new beer hall, I think. Opened their brewery, but that's in Leeds, I believe.
Yes, I think so.
So I've not been to Leeds, so I feel like that's on the 2025 list. So there we go. Tap Social Movement, got a bunch from them. Sunken Knave, I have a collab, but I believe you might have got one for me. So
I don't think I'm going to get it to you before the end of the year, but you can roll it over.
I didn't cross it off, but you know what? Next year I don't think I'm going to do this, to be honest. But basically, I've also had Trappist breweries, which I've had loads now, and Bayonet Brewing, which I didn't manage to get. But I actually don't think next year I'm going to track specific breweries. What I did this year was I did put down how many different breweries were new to me that I bought or tried this year, and I think how I'm gonna change how I track stuff, I'm gonna make it clear of like what's something that I'd never actually heard of before and what's something that I hadn't tried, like what's the first time trying it versus what's something that I just stumbled upon, hadn't heard of them before and tried it. Because in total, for everything that was new to me that I hadn't heard of before trying it, I got 76 beers on that list, 76 breweries on that list. But I don't know if there's potentially a lot more, and I just didn't actually track them properly because I stopped after a certain point. But I think that's probably what I'll do next year instead. But yeah, that's all of my personal goals for this year.
I think we did well.
I can't complain.
And also, we were in a book.
That was pretty awesome.
Let's not forget that. We were in a book. I don't think we talked about it recently.
I'm immortalised for pumpkin spice forever. That's my favourite thing.
We were in a book. We're still in a book. And also, the podcast got shortlisted for 2 awards. So I think we had a pretty good 2024, you know.
Next to some amazing people. Well, should we go in and talk about some of the more specific things? Are we done with cracking another beer before we do that?
Sure. What have you got as your third beer?
All right. I'm going to say it, but I'm going to hold it the opposite direction. So if I'm not supposed to have this, we'll just blur it out. But I wanted to represent the amazing people that we have in our life on this third one.
Yes.
So I have Technological Terror from Empress.
I could have cracked mine of that.
Well, you did mention we should
Maybe
have
I will. Hang on,
something.
So
do
you know what? I've got mine
glass
as well.
Are we allowed to say we've had it?
Yeah, of course.
We've got it.
We've got this was
lovely.
the lovely Damien. The lovely Damien sent this to us because he is a babe.
He is such a babe, and I was so ill when I received this. And like the best part was
confused.
You were like, "You're getting a package. I can't wait for you to get it. It's not from me." And I was like, "What does that even?" I was like, "What does that mean?" And then I was like, I kind of did like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And you were like, you'll see when you get it. I can't wait for you to get it. And I was like, what is it? And you were like, I can't tell you. It should come today. And I was like, the way you said it was like, you should be getting one as well. And when I saw that, I was like, maybe I'm not getting one. You're like, no, you're definitely getting one. And I was like, but how do you know? And you're like, I just know. Just wait until you get it. And then it arrived and I saw the label on it and I was like, oh, thinking there was like numerous options. But then I start pulling the beers out and it's like Emperor's beers. And I was like, Emperor's beers. And I never... Out of anyone that could have my address sending me beer from this particular location, like I was like, someone is sending me some really amazing Emperor's. I pull out an Emperor's glass, and I was like,
yeah, he sent us his new glasses.
Yeah, and I was like, I've got one, but this one's like almost even sturdier than the other one.
So there's a thing behind that, right? So this happened because I saw Damien at Generation Craft.
Yep.
I've seen him a bunch of times this year. Actually, another person I've seen a bunch of times this year. And he was like, I want to send you and Tori some beers. Can you get me Tori's address? He's like, but I want it to be a surprise. And I was like, no problem, my friend. We can make that happen. So
we already have each other's addresses, like,
yeah, because I send stuff to you all the time. So I was like, that's not a problem. I can send you her address. Yeah. Oh God, and then beautiful. I happened to be talking to him about how you had drunk West Veltrum without me twice, and how I was trying to get hold of one because it's on my bucket list. And he was like, "Have you not had that? Oh, I think I might have one somewhere. I'll have a look for you." And then, so he was in, like, he was like, well, I'm going to send you beers. And then I got a message from him, and it was just a picture of the bottle of West Veltrum 12, and he was like, secured, one for you and Tori. And I was like, oh my God, you are absolute babe. Like, I think he is vying for nicest man in brewing.
Yeah, I think
like,
he
Andy
is.
Parker, you better watch out, my friend.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, so I'm like putting these things out, and I'm like, there's an Emperor's glass, and I was like, okay. And then I'm like,
he's had to get new glasses done. So when I saw him at Generation Craft, he was like, yeah, I've got, and someone was like, oh, your glasses are slightly different now. And the ones he had before, which I think you've got one.
I've got one
anyway,
slightly
like one
bigger.
Of the old ones. They're slightly bigger. They're more
slightly thinner, I think, as well.
Yeah, and they're thinner, and they're like a brandy glass, but it's a particular shape. And he was having to get them. They were specially making them for him because they weren't making that shape anymore.
Oh, shit!
And so he was the only person that was ordering them. Yeah. So he was having to order like a stupid amount at a time. So he changed the glass. He still doesn't think anybody's buying these ones, but these are slightly thicker, and so they're not quite as emotional.
Like, I could tell this was like quality.
Yeah, and so he sent, when I sent him a photo back once I'd unpacked my box, and was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I hadn't put the glass in it because the glass was still wrapped in bubble wrap, and he was like, did the glass make it? And I was like, yes, the glass made it. That's fine, don't worry, the glass is here. I was like, I don't know if Tori's has arrived yet. I'm waiting to find out. So there's me texting you going, have you, I think you're going to...
You're like, you're getting a package. It's not from me. And I was like...
You're going to get a package today.
What? But yeah, then I'm like...
messaging... And then I messaged Jamie, and then he was like, "Has she got it yet?" And I'm like, "No, I'm still trying to find out." And now she's freaking out. She doesn't know what's happening.
Well, because then I'm like pulling the bottles out, and I was like, "These are like." I pulled out one, and I was like, "Emperors, okay, glass, okay, we got this." And then I pull out another Emperors, and I'm like, "These are not cheap." Like they're not like I was like when I say not cheap, I mean like in the sense of they're limited quantity of what's been brewed. There's only like 200 and something bottles of each, and they're obviously like much higher ABV. They're very distinct, like barrel aged in particular ways, like really interesting stuff. Like these aren't just like run of the mill like Emperor collabs of it. And so I'm like pulling them out, and I'm like, who would send me these? Like who would be
Damien
putting these off? And then I got this one, which just says Technological Terror.
So this
and I was like, this
technically, this one's never been bottled.
So that's what confused me. So I'm going, I didn't look it up because I went, that's thrown me way off.
Yeah.
And then I pull out the Westie, and I was like, what? Like then that I think that's the one that threw me way off. I was like, who sent me this? Unbeknownst to you as well, I had also got you a set of 3.
Yeah, and I didn't know that's my early birthday present. Now I'm gonna have 2.
I went from thinking I would never hold one of those 12s
and you've
in
had
my hand.
5 this year,
and including yours that I've held in my hand, I've had 5, and then another 4 of the other ones. There's 2 blondes and 2 of the other year one. I mean, the other numbered ones, which I can't remember. Literally, I was like, how has this happened? Meanwhile, I'm like, I'm sorry. This is not my fault. People are bringing them to places that I am at. This is not on me. So when I pulled it out of that box, I was like, I just picked up your early birthday present as well. And I was like, what is this?
It was great. We enjoyed it.
Oh, he's so sweet.
So this was our Christmas present.
And I got a message from those just like, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like, I'm feeling shit and this has made me feel so much better. And I was like, you are a babe. Like, this is just the best spontaneous present that I could have imagined. So I wanted to have something from that just to represent like the friends that we have made and like just the amazing people that we get to kind of like see at places and go like, I know that guy. Like people be like, oh, Damien. I'm like, I know him. And I know
do you remember,
him.
Right?
And he knows who I am.
And do you remember when we interviewed him on the podcast the first time?
And he was so like,
I was staying at yours, and you were like, Elusive's brewing with Emperors, and Andy said we can come down. Do you want to? And I was like, yes.
And they're like, Damien's quite shy. He doesn't really want to be on camera, but I'm sure once he gets there, he'll warm up. And he was great.
It was so good. And then we've been besties ever since.
He's so good. When I see him places, I'm like, oh, that's Damien, and I know who he is. And he doesn't pretend he doesn't know me. It's lovely. I'm like, this is great. Oh, this beer is phenomenal. I need to make sure Rick has some, so I can't drink all of it. I'm getting some cinnamon most notes.
It's an imperial stout. It's been 3 years in Jack Daniel's barrels.
That's the spicing that I'm getting, probably.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's really nice.
Really, and it's really chocolate and coffee.
What's the ABV on that?
It is. Yeah, because we have no information on this label.
No, that's what I was really confused about. So I pulled that out, and that's the first thing that threw me off. And then there was Feltrin, and I was like, the fuck? Like, I was like, who has sent me just a collaboration of amazing beers and then like a homebrew bottle? Like, I was like, what is it?
It is 12.5%.
Doesn't drink like that.
No, it doesn't. It's very tasty.
It drinks like a 7.
So, friends, go out and buy Emperor's beers because can recommend.
Yes, friendos. This
also
is
get
not a paid sponsorship.
Yeah,
these are really good. You want them to keep buying them because they are.
Keep buying these because they're great.
Awesome. Drink your whiskey out of them. Drink whatever you want out of them. Whiskey and wort, whatever you want.
Whiskey and wort it.
I do want to say before we wrap up as well, I've been trying to do the alphabet, and I did go through the alphabet each time with the beer names. And then I got to breweries, and I was too shy of completing the alphabet. X and Z.
Oh. Are there any breweries that start with X and start with Z?
I don't know. But those are the last two.
Do you know what?
Because this quarter I did Indie Rabble, Jester King, King Street Brewhouse. So that was IJK, and now I've got X and Z.
To be fair, I have been doing. I middle of the year started doing an A to Z of books that I'd read, and I did pretty well straight off the bat. But I think I'm missing X and Z and like V.
It's hard.
Yeah. Because then it's
V, I'm like Vault City. That's the easiest.
Yeah, that was easy. In books, it was less easy.
I didn't even go with them. I didn't even go Vault City in that though in the end because I thought it was too low hanging fruit. I tried to challenge myself with.
Why are you making things difficult? You always do things on hard mode.
Well, to be fair, because one of the ones I had when I actually got to going through the breweries was like I had this before I had another Vault City one, so it just worked out.
There you go.
But yeah, I think to be fair, what was also impressive, I felt like, was the ones that were new to me. As I already said, I got 76, but I stopped counting after that point, so that was good. And then I guess big accomplishments, like if we just kind of like from what I looked at, I'll do a quick recap of everything. We hosted a panel for International Women's Collab. Well, I hosted a panel for International Women's Collaboration Brew Day at Double Barreled, which was like, cannot believe that I did that. That's insane.
You did an amazing job.
And we got to brew with Sophie Durand.
We did.
Awesome. And again, she was like, I know you are. I'm like, oh my God, what? Me? We were in a book. We got to do 2 brew days together. And I did a day volunteering, so that was cool. Went on the Tour de Gueuze. I was mostly up to date with my Untappd, so I was pretty pleased about that. We joined the Guild of Beer Writers. As you said, we were shortlisted for 2 awards. So it was Citizen Beer Writer and Citizen Beer Communicator and the Diversity Inclusive, the DEI award, basically, which was like, I looked at the people we were up against and I was like, never gonna win.
That one I was most proud of being
that one I was
for.
Arguably I was the most proud of that, knowing full well that we would never win that. We weren't
gonna win it.
But I was like, there's always next year, that's fine. And getting to meet the Beer Fridge guys was great. I was listening to their end of year wrap up and was peeing myself laughing because they were talking about how they were like, oh, white stout's not really a stout. One of them was going, white stout's not really a stout, so that doesn't count. And then they got to the IPA category and they were like, well, black IPAs. And I was like, well, I was commenting going, well, if you don't think a white stout counts as a stout, a black IPA does not count as an IPA. Thank you very much. So I was jokingly trolling and that was fun, but they are so lovely. And then, we already talked about the Westie. So that was something I put as an accomplishment.
She got one of those. I think I'm going to save mine till next year and it's going to be a thing for me next year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to track a lot of these better, but I did come out with my most interesting beer in Q4 was the Red Mild that I had from the Fresh Standard.
Oh yeah, I've got one of those and I haven't drunk it yet.
Because it was just interesting. I'd never had a Red Mild before. And then probably my favourite beer of the quarter was the Black Aggie Double Barrel Fluffernutter. So Hidden Springs rocks it.
Have you got a beer of the year?
I think so. I narrowed it down to my quarters. I had Moonflowers. That was the PB&J Hidden Springs. So Hidden Springs made this list twice. So Q1 was Moonflower, the PB&J Hidden Springs. Civility, Manners, Decorum from Turning Point, which was basically a Hawaiian Punch one, which actually I'm not sure if that was Turning Point. I think it was a different Turning Point, but it was a Hawaiian Punch one, which was awesome. Had that at a beer festival. Cuppa from Northern Monk was my Q3 pick. Surprising underdog, really surprisingly enjoyed that. And then the Black Aggie Double Barrel Fluffernutter from Hidden Springs. I think that one it's one of the 2 Hidden Springs, and I think it might be that one takes the cake for the beer of the year. And I don't know if it's recent bias, but those flavors really hit, and it was just like, oh, chef's kiss. What about you?
So I did a beer bracket this year that I drew out in my journal.
I love that.
I'll put it on my Instagram so people can see it. But I would pick. So what I did was I picked 5 beers for each month. Then I picked my favourite out of those, and then I've pitted them against each other in this bracket. So January's beer was Moonflower by Hidden Springs. February was Star Hammer by Holy Goat. March was Halftime Horseman by Track. April was Granite Heart by Fierce. May was Pink Lemonade Radler by Left Handed Giant. June, A Basic Equation by Turning Point. July was Dark Mile by Artifact. August was Piece of Cake from Vault City. September was Strawberry Time Lambicus from Lindemans. Timmermans. Sorry, it wasn't Lindemans, it was Timmermans. October was Sugar and Spice from Vault City. November was Green Hills from Burnt Meal. And December was Last Christmas from Vault City. So Vault City turned up 3 times in this.
Ooh. So clearly they've got to be like Brewery of the Year for you.
Well, I guess
the real Brewery of the Year.
I didn't even think about it. But yeah. But that has come down to, I then picked Halftime Horseman against Basic Equation and Sugar and Spice against Green Hills, which then went down to Halftime Horseman versus Sugar and Spice.
Ooh.
And Sugar and Spice has come out as my beer of the year.
Yes!
But I think next year, so I'm doing a thing with my books. So I do a book bracket. I do a bracket like this for my books. But also, like, I find that sometimes something on one side might have fared better than something on the other side if you'd have put them together against each other. So I think I'll do the bracket again next year, but then I'll do a matrix.
I feel like maybe we should have like style ones as well.
Yeah,
like we should have like a podcast style ones that we should be like, what should we need to work out the logistics of it.
Yeah, but I'm going to do a matrix, so then everything from the months gets pitted against everything else, and then you add up how many of each thing won, and then the numbers do you a 1 to 12.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of math, and I'm bad at math.
It's not too much math. It's not. I'll show you how to do it. It's simple when you know how it works. But I think I'm going to do that next year instead. But Sugar and Spice,
number 1.
Pumpkin maple pie, pumpkin maple pecan pie from Vault City was my beer of the year.
It was tasty AF, so I'll take that.
Do you want to know from my stats that I recorded this year what our top episodes were?
Yeah, do it.
So our top episodes for this quarter were Munich Dunkel, the Tartarus Goddess series, and Talking to Tom Bacon.
That's gonna be. I want to come out and say I think my favorite episode of this whole year was talking to Tom. Not from start to finish, I think, because he had me even before you joined. He had me in tears. He was regaling me with stories. He got me pretty much like the best fake ass cameo I've ever received in my life from a human being.
Yeah. From Prosciutto.
That's great. Not on the podcast, so people are gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" That's why I was trying not to name names, but greatest moment ever. Like I was literally like, "Well, I've made it." So there we go. I've got my name called out by Prosciutto.
And then when I look back, well, our top 3 episodes, according to the stats that I've been tracking. 3rd place, beer challenges.
Okay.
2nd place, top rated beers.
All right.
And 1st place, top episode of the year, chatting with my mate Tom Bacon.
Hey, yes,
well done, Tom.
Get
Tom.
in.
You made it, my friend.
You made it, Tom.
You made it.
That was honestly.
You so much for joining us. It was good times.
My top episode of the year was talking to Tom. You could have not had the recording. You could have been like, the recording's gone horribly wrong and we got to record it again. And I'd look forward to it because I would know that episode would probably end up wildly different.
Yeah.
And only I would have gotten that great experience of what we recorded on that day. I forgot to even say one of my top moments ever as well was at the British Guild of Beer Writers Awards. Sat at a table. I was on the Visit Flanders table. They invited me as a guest. I was like, "Are you sure that you want to invite me? Like what?" And I'm like talking about how I'm like, "Oh, I saw that Kestemont was going to be on, and I was very excited." And I like looked over, and it was like the Kestemont family was there, and I was like, "Ah!" And I was like, "No." And then she was like, "I like podcasts. Like you can give me the name of your," and I was like, "You probably won't like it though." And I gave her the name and I was like, she's going to hate. Can we just delete anything that talks about Belgian beer, please? Because this is, I don't know what to do.
It'll be great.
And then Rick was like, that was a missed opportunity to not take the sticker out. And I was like, I forgot about the stickers.
We're so bad about.
I wouldn't have remembered at that
promoting.
point. I panicked. Like I was like, no, you don't. And then I was like, look for an out. And
Yeah.
I will say, I'm slightly grateful that we didn't win because I was having a panic attack
Oh no!
before we even when they were just saying we're going to start the awards. I was like, panic attack engaged. And then they were reading out names, and I was like, they read out my name, and I was like, I'm having a panic attack. This is great. And I was like, so if they actually call me out as a winner, I won't know what to do. I probably won't go up there. So
there we go.
Take that for what it is. It's probably great that we didn't win anyways. So, but yeah, that was our year in review, and I hope you join us again in January for when we set our 2025 goals. Maybe we'll be slightly more organized this time. Because last year
Fingers
I feel like
crossed.
we were like, yeah, we had like really great ideas, and then we didn't actually get a chance to talk about them, and then we're like, drink harder challenge. I guess that's what we're doing. Cool.
Yeah, we'll be better about it next year. We say this every year, but
this time we really mean it emotionally.
And next year's our 5th birthday, so we should probably do something for our 5th birthday,
which is
right?
also what we say every year. So. But maybe we'll actually do it this year. We just don't know.
Yeah. Right, so Tori, if people want to suggest what things they want to see from us in 2025, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, if people want to find me, they want to make suggestions for next year, they want to suggest goals, because I'm always open to goals. By the time this comes out, I probably won't have finished making my goals yet. That other episode won't probably be out yet. So send me your suggestions, adventures_in_optimism on Instagram, or you can email me in links to different goals that you think would be fun to tick off, or links to anything that you think would be fun to incorporate in 2025. You can email those to me at adventuresandoptimism@gmail.com. But if you don't want to reach out to just me, you want me and Joe, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at A Woman's Brew, or you can email us any links, ideas, people you want us to interview, awkwardly throw them in as a CC into an email to us and hook that up, because maybe that's what we should do more of in 2025, is go back to doing more interviews, because we've been so wildly busy.
7 people last year.
We have been so wildly busy that we didn't, and Tom has taken the cake. But if you think somebody can rival Tom's amazing conversation, or you want to see Tom come back, you can email us and drop them in CC to us, because that would just be funny in a trolling way. But you could do that at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. Joe, if people want to tell you what kind of content they want to see you post in 2025, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I am Love Beer Learning. Tell me what you want to see, because I did not have the time to get around to doing anything this year, but maybe I will next year. Let's see. Or you can come to my website, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. There are blog posts there. I haven't really done anything this last end of this year.
We're going to be better next year.
Well, I'm probably not going to.
We're going to be better next year.
I need to think of a way of revamping the website. So go and have a look at it. Tell me what you want to see, what you want it to look like. Or you can email me those ideas at lovebeerlearning@gmail.com.
Stella, we're going to get our groove back.
We
in
are.
2025.
Now let's go finish this lovely
share this down.
Beer.
Cheers.